Hello, everyone, and welcome to the official podcast of BNI Success Link. Today's topic, 3 things you can do now to reduce your public speaking anxiety.
The official podcast of BNI Success Link, your link to success.
Hello again, everyone. I'm your host, Rav Mendirata from Social Squares, and today's topic is very dear to me. 3 things you can do now to reduce your public speaking anxiety. And as always, I have an expert on the subject, SJ Harrison. SJ is an award-winning public speaking and performance coach. And I would love it, SJ, if you could explain a little bit when you say performance, what does that mean?
So performance to me can mean any time that we're speaking in public, or even it can be one-on-one when there's something very important for us and we feel we have to rise to the occasion. As a holistic voice and performance coach for public speaking, I help people bring out their authentic voice in front of people, essentially. I work with a wide range of people and also a wide range of challenges, from clarity of speech issues to volume, to calming anxiety, to also constructing impactful speeches and presentations.
That's awesome. And anxiety in public speaking, I've gone through several phases of that.
Yes.
But what's the first thing that trips up people when it comes to speaking in the public?
Well, starting at ground zero, I'd say that it's actually procrastination. And procrastination on preparing for those important conversations or those important events. So we might do it last minute. And a lot of that is because people just don't really know where to begin. Many people won't even practice out loud. It's extremely important that we do, because we're using our instrument when we're speaking, performing, engaging with others. And that's the whole body. So procrastination is an issue that stems from maybe not knowing how to practice.
Okay, that brings in a lot of questions in my mind, and you're absolutely right. I never thought about procrastination, but now that you mentioned practice, I can relate to it. But would love to learn, how can we change this? I mean, it's a vicious cycle in a way, right? I mean, we are humans, we procrastinate.
Absolutely, and so do I. So the main thing is, if you're procrastinating, you have to identify it and then set a deadline. Say, okay, I'm going to watch half an hour more of this show, and then I'm going to do X. Now, the X is the question, isn't it? So how do we transform a vicious cycle into a virtuous one? And the main thing is to learn skills. Well, how do we learn skills? Of course, I'm going to recommend that if this is important to you, you work with a coach. But today, I'd like to give you 3 things you can do at home, because I think it's important not to actually wait till you have an important conversation or event, but to start orienting yourself to your instrument. And so by instrument, again, I mean the body. Anxiety is a mind-body experience, and we can actually use the body to start feeling more confident. This may seem counterintuitive because people become aware of what their mind is doing around anxiety and try to sort of address their thoughts. Mindset is really important, and we can work with our psychology in a number of ways with support around this. But here's some ridiculously simple things. So I'm wanting to give you ways to incorporate this into your life now, so that you're not just starting with, where's my body, where's my voice, how do I breathe, right when you're facing the need to prepare. Rather, this can be incorporated into your weekly life. And I say weekly because if I say, do this every day, that's just kind of a lot, right? It can also help to attach any new habit to an existing habit. So I can give you some ideas of when and where to do these things. Would you like to hear about the first one?
Yes, absolutely. I'm breathing as I'm listening. So.
Yes. So when we're speaking and we're in flow, we're breathing in and out through the mouth. Now, we don't usually do that at rest. It may not actually be that great to be spending our lives mouth breathing. It's absolutely essential for speaking moments, however. And that's because we need breath for life and also breath for speech. So when we're in repose, we don't need as much breath, right? When we're exercising and speaking does actually require that added breath, like we might when we're mildly exercising, we need more air. And the best way to get that is to breathe through the mouth. And you'll see both of us doing that in the video. If you're watching the video, it's very natural when we're in flow. So the first thing is to orient yourself to your breathing. Are you breathing shallowly? Most of us do. And I do it. I'm a speaking coach, but when I'm tense and I'm not focusing on speaking and I'm just in repose, I might find myself almost not breathing or taking pauses in breathing, being held up here. But we really don't want to do that for speaking. So checking yourself in the mirror is the first way. Breathing in and out through the mouth, looking in the mirror and noticing, is your chest moving up and down a lot? Trying to bring the breath down by releasing your belly. Sloppy belly, it's going to look very sloppy. Just while you're in the mirror, release your belly, breathing in and out through the mouth, and start to orient yourself to deeper diaphragmatic breathing, because the bulk of our lungs is actually down here. It's not the high part of the lungs where most of us spend our lives breathing. So orient yourself. And then do that at rest. Are you tense? Okay, I'm going to breathe in and out through the mouth. I'm going to drop my breath down. I'm going to release my tummy. So that's something you can do in traffic. Are you tense in traffic? Engage with that, sitting upright. See if you can engage with that. So that's the first thing, Rav.
Interesting. And what are the other two?
Okay, so the other one, and again, it's about enjoyment. And I've said that to you, Rav, but I haven't said that on here. How can we actually feel some enjoyment in the tools of speaking? So that's what I'm trying to create here, is some ease and enjoyment, which is an antidote to the anxiety. So humming, can you hum from the top of your range to the low of your range, which might sound something like this. I'll move back a little from the mic. Right?
Interesting.
In the shower, every time you're in the shower, a little bit of humming, feel where it vibrates in your face. So you start to knock the cobwebs off of the parts of your voice that you don't regularly use. That just loosens the voice up, and the voice starts thinking, maybe there's other places I can go expressively in speaking, when we just engage with humming on a regular basis. So that's the second thing.
That's interesting. You're making me more and more curious. So what's the third?
Okay. So the next thing is wordplay. Some of us are oriented to wordplay. The ear really delights in rhyme. That's why when we need to remember something, there may be a rhyme to remember. Do you know the rhyme for which way you unscrew something?
Not exactly, but
Righty-tighty, lefty-loosey.
interesting.
Right? So
Yeah.
there's a sense of wordplay there. And I actually use that when I'm thinking, wait a minute, which way does the screw need to go to undo it? Right? So this is something that's very innate to human beings all over the world. The sound of language. We have words in all our languages, I'm sure, that are somewhat evocative of the actual activity. Thinking of words like blam, bam, slam. These actually echo that noise. So can you think of a phrase, and it doesn't have to be rhyming, it can be a quote that's really meaningful to you. And can you play with that aloud, again, in the shower, in the car? If you have a way to attach it to something you regularly do, you can sing that line, you can say that line in an accent that's different than your own. You can over-articulate that line. And then when you get bored with that, find another line so that you start becoming alive to the sounds of our language, whichever language you're speaking in.
Those are some awesome tips. And like you said, they're really simple to implement. I'll pen it down to start implementing these. Thank you so much for them. Before I
You're
let you
welcome.
go, before I let you go, I have one final question. And this is because I'm in this space. So what is one digital marketing strategy that has worked for your business?
Consistency and patience. I've done a lot of organic marketing. I've certainly had some benefit when I've done Google ads and had those managed professionally. And so that's really helpful. Working with somebody like you on different aspects of the tools that are being used, a professional, for example, is very, very helpful. I found that without guidance, it felt very hit or miss, and was in fact very hit or miss.
Right.
The other thing has been consistency and slow growth. And sometimes that's quite frustrating. For me, it's also about finding out which is your platform. And I think I started investing in the best platform for me a little bit late in the day, but I am finding it's growing finally. And that's LinkedIn for me. So I have a newsletter growing slowly. Every week there's more people subscribing to the newsletter, but it is slow. And then, so that's the digital aspect. Definitely for me, BNI has felt like it's actually a game changer, because it's a way to really build face-to-face relationships. Like you and I haven't known each other very long, but you've been very supportive in bringing me in to different spaces as a speaking coach, because speaking is your passion.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. And LinkedIn and newsletters, I think that's a great strategy. And I'm really happy to hear that that's working well for you. So how can our audience subscribe to your newsletter and stay in touch with you?
Finding me on LinkedIn, SJ Harrison MFA is my title on LinkedIn, and my newsletter is the Speakeasy Extra. You can also find me at sjharrisoncoach.com. Everything is there, including a podcast that I also run. And I'd love you to check that out as well.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much, SJ. Thanks for doing this. I think you shared really valuable insights and, like you said, ridiculously simple tips for people.
Yes.
I'm really happy that we did this. Thank you.
Thank you, Rob. It's been a real pleasure.
The official podcast of BNI Success Link. Your link to success.